Well, now we're talking about video games, investing in speculation, and this one I want to talk about is the Nintendo Switch Lite console, the gold and black console. A lot of folks are saying, why in God's name would you go and put money into this? Well, I have a few reasons why it could be a sneaky good buy, but of course, there are serious risks and opportunity costs to think about here. What's up, YouTube? YugiohTube here, talking about a video game potential speculation investment. I should do more of these. Obviously, I'm more of a card channel, but I have bought and sold video games since I was a little kid, and obviously there is a market for this stuff, and if you know what you're doing, you could do well. Let's talk about this console here. This is, of course, as you can see on the screen, a gold-black edition of the Nintendo Switch Lite. Here's the back of it. It looks pretty sweet, right? The Triforce on the back reminds me of a lot of the 3DS Link Between Worlds Gold Edition. Of course, there was the Majora's Mask 3DS, the new 3DS XL, that was gold as well. And a lot of people might be wondering, is this even worth buying? Is there any sort of potential long-term value here? Let's have a serious just discussion about some of the pros, some of the cons of potentially buying this and seeking profit out of this in the long run. Okay, again, for those who don't know, what does it come with? Well, it's, of course, this gold and black, a really sweet-looking Nintendo Switch Lite. It's got the bonus Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack here. It's $40 value, all for $210, okay? As you can see, the box on the bottom here looks pretty cool. It is a gold-themed Zelda edition console, which usually bodes well in the long run when you're talking about video game speculating and investing. Again, all you have to do is look at the previous 3DS models. The 3DS XL, Link Between Worlds Gold Edition, big money. Majora's Mask, new 3DS, big money. You talk about other things such as the black old 3DS, right? Not the XL, but the black Triforce edition. You had the Wii U, the black Triforce edition there as well of the Zelda. So it seems like anything Zelda. Give me an example where anything Zelda has gone down in value and you're going to have a really hard time finding it. It might be out there. Go ahead, blast it in the comments section. But an obvious pro of this, it's Zelda, right? Anything Zelda over the long run does do well. And you might be saying, well, no. This is a Switch Lite. Nobody cares about the Switch Lite. Switch Lite compared to the base Switch stinks. You can't dock it. You can't do anything with it, right? It's more like a baby down version of the Nintendo Switch, which you have 100% correct statement there when you say that. But people said the same thing about the Nintendo 2DS, right? The 2DS is for kids. It's like they could throw it on the floor, it won't break, and it's just not as strong of a system. It's ugly, right? It's bulky, right? And you look at the Nintendo 2DS here, and what do you notice? This is the 2DS XL, the Shield edition here, the Hylian Shield, and you could see used $600. I mean, here, obviously, over here you're talking about 313, right? Over here, open box, you're talking tons and tons of money for that Shield. $755 complete with all packaging used, right? Used $800. Brand new, it's probably more than that. But now you look at this green Nintendo 2DS, right? And even the open box, you're seeing open box for the 200 price point. Here's a brand new one at 350. So even, right? Even in a console that is seen to be just so inferior and so terrible, right? There's still a lot of value here. So then that kind of counteracts that whole, it's the Switch Lite. It doesn't have the full capability of the normal Switch. It's a watered down version. It's a kiddie version, right? You get all this commentary. But when you think of the 2DS, it's pretty similar, right? The Switch Lite almost is kind of what the 2DS was to the 3DS. So I would argue, yeah, that is a serious, concern. Now there is that Switch, the normal Switch, the Zelda version as well, which I think always will do well in the long run. So I think that the base Switch, not the Switch Lite, but the Switch that came out a year or so ago, year or two ago, that should do well as well. But what interested me was that we know that we are at the end of the Nintendo Switch life cycle, correct? I think everybody can agree, right? We know this, right? that the Nintendo Switch is coming to an end as we know it, at least the original Switch 1 console, right? And what does that mean? And to me, that means a lot of good things in terms of the supply produced. And you might be saying, why? Well, you might also be saying everyone's got a Switch Lite, so no one's going to buy this thing, right? Everyone already has their Switch, everyone's got their Switch Lite. The Switch is at the end of its cycle. So, what is interesting about this at all? Well, to me, if Nintendo is smart here, okay, they're going to produce a very low quantity of this. And you might be saying, why? Well, because they know that Nintendo Switch is done, it's finished, right? So they're going to try and squeeze the last bit of juice from that orange that they have, or the cash cow that is the Nintendo Switch. So they know everyone's got Switch. Switch is one of the best-selling consoles of all time. So they might, at this point, say, okay, everyone's got a Switch. Everybody and their grandma's got a Switch Lite. But if we put some nice paint, put some cool design on the Switch Lite, then maybe we'll squeeze a little bit extra to pad to our revenue stream, right? At the end of this product's life cycle, which I don't blame them. If I'm Nintendo, I'm doing that. But knowing Nintendo, especially with Zelda, especially with a variant console like this, you don't expect them to just crank the presses on this, and you'll see this on clearance for $150, $140. I just don't see it. I see Nintendo recognizing, obviously, that that the Switch is on its way out. And they say, well, again, let's try and get a few extra, pad the stats, right? Get a few extra dollars out of this Nintendo Switch. And not produce a ton of this because there's not going to be a huge demand for this. No one's lining up like a PlayStation 6 to go line up and get a themed Switch Lite. So, and how they do things and how they've done things over the years and years and years and years and decades is they don't overproduce variants, especially variants at the end of their product life cycle. So to me, this could be a situation where, yeah, this might not sell that well. It might not. But this might not also have been produced in high quantities. And of course, you go on eBay and you see people trying to sell this, right, for 300, whatever it is, dollars, and they're going to get upset because it doesn't sell. But I'm thinking in the next 3 to 5 years, is there going to be a substantial growth? I think that is a possibility. I think it's worth looking into. Now, of course, this is available on right here, Nintendo.com. It's also available right here at GameStop.com. It is also available at Best Buy. It's also available at Target, right? So at this current point, right, in September of 2024, it looks like this is a flop. It looks like this is, just a dead product, dead inventory. Didn't sell too well. But what intrigues me about this product is, again, 3 to 5 years from now, is this going to be one of those kind of anomalies that people are just like, whoa, this thing really went up in value? And then they're going to say why. And then you're probably going to hear, well, they didn't really produce much of this stuff, the orders are not there. If the orders and the demand were there to outweigh the supply, these would all be sold out. Okay, so the fact that it's not sold out, of course, all right, someone who's criticizing this product is going to say, well, it's not sold out. There's no demand here, or the supply outweighs the demand. And you're right. You've got 100%, confirmation that this thing is out and it's still in stock. So this isn't one of those hyped up super beast products. But when I do think of the next 5 years, not the next year, not the next 2 years, but 3, 4, 5, even more than that, could there be substantial gains here? If it gets to the point where, hey, you could sit on the sidelines, wait a year or two, and if this price is still at $210 in 2 years, when the new Switch is already out, the new revised Switch 2, and this is still around the $200 price point in 2 years, do I think this could be a very attractive investment? I do, because these things don't stagnate, right, too often. But it is something to probably monitor. What do you guys think? Do you think this is a complete and utter waste? Do you think, again, Switch Lite's too niche, kind of like the 2DS, and there's no hope, no potential? Everyone's got it. There's no demand for this. They produced too many, Nintendo did, and it doesn't really matter. Do you think the growth rate obviously will be too slow to where the opportunity cost. You throw that in a stocks, you'll make more money, which realistically it's almost impossible to beat the stock market. So again, you want to kind of do that first. I don't know. What do you guys think? It's just my opinion. Make your own financial decisions and investments. And until next time, Yu-Gi-Oh! 2, signing out.